all of us have been thinking about how to resist this administration and everything that's happening in our country right now that is coming for the LGBTQ community on all fronts. And now One Voice Mixed Chorus has an upcoming concert this month called Protest Lines. And prior to joining One Voice Mixed Chorus, their artistic director, Kimberly Waigwa, joins us now. Waigwa was the artistic director of the Phoenix Women's Chorus and Desert Voices Mixed Chorus. Waigwa was a member of the inaugural class of the Chorus America Choral Executive Leadership Academy. They are also a member of the American Choral Director Association National Diversity Initiatives Committee. They join me now. Waigwa, welcome back to the Gailey Show.
Hi, thanks so much for having me back.
Okay, Protest Lines. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so Protest Lines is kind of a response to what's happening in the world. Last May, we did a 5th anniversary concert to commemorate the 5th anniversary of the murder of George Floyd.
Mhm.
And so just based on that concert, we got to partner with 4 other Black-led ensembles to kind of come together to have our own tribute. And based on singer reactions, this is the direction that we needed to go. It is the feeling that singers were having of what can we do in the community? How can we give back more? And through music as our medium, what can we do? And so that is where the name Protest Lines came from. It doesn't so much mean walking in lines in protest. It means that the 5 lines of the music staff are our means of protest. And so in putting this, yeah.
Wow.
And so yeah, we've been advocates for the queer community and other communities for the last 37 years. And so we just want to dig deeper into that tradition. And so this year with Protest Lines, we are celebrating that with a whole bunch of protest songs. So the concert is almost a 50-50 split of the chorus putting together music of protest, as well as teaching the audience protest songs.
That's what I love about this concert.
I think this is so brilliant. I mean, we're working with a lot of arts groups, and you can see what their programming is, and I would describe it as safe, and sort of not wanting to ruffle any feathers or whatever. And here's an organization like yours that is literally saying, we're not ignoring what's happening, we're acknowledging it, and we're going to do what we can about it. And I just think it's brilliant. I just think it's a brilliant concept.
Thank you. Yeah, we hope that it'll be very well attended and people can the goal is to have people leave with some sort of hope, right? To remember that despite lots of bad things in the world happening, there are still good things, right? Coming together to sing is a good thing. Coming to support your community is a good thing. Being able to sing with other people is a great thing. And so hopefully people will leave not only with some hope, but we're creating some packets for them so they can take protest songs out either into their communities, whether that's their churches or their families, or out if they decide to hit the streets for a next protest.
So how do you curate a program like this? Because I imagine there's a rich tradition of songs to choose from for a concert. You have a limited amount of time. Like, how did you go through, like, what are the selections that you can tell us that will be part of the program?
Sure, I can tell you kind of some key staples. I've very much wanted to pull from both the Black and the queer, traditions of protest. Certainly from the women's music movement. We'll be singing, of course, Singing for Our Lives by Holly Near. For any folks who don't know, it was a response to the murder of Harvey Milk. She kind of started writing it the minute she found out that he was killed. And by the time she reached the vigil for him, there were 2 verses already formed, and that was the first time that it was performed. So that's kind of one huge staple, Holly Near. We also have another woman whose work we're incorporating. Her name is Melanie DeMore. She was also a huge advocate of the women's movement. And she's if you've ever seen someone who just has this internal light and this internal spark to pull emotion from you, not necessarily with a glossing over, but with a hard truth. She makes you feel joy in your own resistance. Melanie DeMore is amazing. So we're doing 2 of her pieces that the audience will get to sing, Lead with Love and Standing Stone. And then I would say another that stands out to me is We Shall Overcome.
Mm.
because not only did that start kind of on the plantation fields and get taken into the Black Methodist movement kind of at the beginning, of Black folks being able to kind of create and like solidify their own recognized religions. But it's been used for labor movements. It's been used in apartheid South Africa. It's really just a song that has crossed so many different struggles throughout history. So I think those are some key highlights.
That's great.
So how does the audience participation and learning work?
So this is a very unusual concert for one voice. Usually it's kind of like I create everything. There's a couple solos here and there, and that's it. But I really wanted to kind of let go this time because I am not a monolith of a movement, right? Like, and so other than one of the songs, which I'll be leading, everything else is going to be led by singers. Yeah, so they'll be teaching it to the audience. The audience will have their lyrics and get to run through it, and then we'll sing it all together.
That is so great. That is just so
I'm feeling a little emotional just thinking about those particular songs that you listed and singing them together.
Yeah, and that's the feeling we want, right?
This is going to be special.
Well, if you go to any sort of art event now, I sometimes feel guilty because it seems like we're all acting like everything's fine. You know, we're all sitting here watching some play and I am enjoying it. But in the back of my mind, I'm thinking I should be doing something important or more important. And this would certainly be that. So that I can imagine being very satisfied to go to that. And is this at the Ordway? Is that right?
No, this will be at O'Shaughnessy on the St. Kate's campus.
I beg your pardon. I love
that's a good space.
It's a great space.
Yeah, it's a great space. It's very easy to see the audience. And I think it'll be perfect for us.
Do you know how many that seats? I'm not sure that I know that.
I think it seats 1,800 total.
Okay. That's a nice group. I mean,
yeah. I mean, we'd love to fill all of those seats.
Yeah.
1,800 people singing songs of protest and solidarity together.
Can you imagine?
It'd be amazing.
Yes.
Do that.
That would be so cathartic. We're here with Kimberly Wagwa, who is the artistic director of One Voice Mixed Chorus. Their concert, Protest Lines, is Saturday, November 15th at the O'Shaughnessy Auditorium. Is it the theater? Auditorium at St. Kate's, right?
St. Kate's at 7:30 p.m.
7:30 p.m. Music is such a big part of the protest tradition here in this country, be it from civil rights to queer liberation, labor rights, women's equality, etc., etc. Talk to me about your thoughts leading a chorus at this particular moment in time in American history.
It's certainly no small task, but I think I would go further even to what you said. Music and singing together has been a part of just human history. It has been the way that we've conveyed stories. It's been the way that we have grieved. It's been the way that we have celebrated. It's been even the way that we have, harvested. Communal singing is such a huge part of the human experience. And so it feels that much more necessary now. Is to be able to not only have, we have our weekly rehearsals, and it's not like we're going to stop doing concerts of this kind, that are advocating for whatever group it is, whatever kind of music it is, whatever kind of collection of humans that we have. But I think it's really important to try to share that more actively with the community. Because there's, as I think Jim was saying, like there's one thing to be able to go to a concert and feel good about it, but like you might take warm fuzzies, but what do you do with them? And so hopefully by sharing, every singer or every audience member who comes will have a QR code, so they'll have links so they can go on YouTube and hear the songs that they learned while they were at the concert, have all the text, have some links so that they can know their rights and know who's been supporting us in this, and hopefully support them. So the goal is to not only have them take those songs, but to take some sense of action with them. Like, are you going to drive your neighbor who can't has mobility issues somewhere? Are you going to pick up someone's groceries? Are you going to go to a food bank? Like, are you going to volunteer somewhere you've never volunteered before? Is there someone who needs data entry done? And that's a way you can volunteer. So hopefully it just sparks some more ways that you can give back. Like, obviously, please continue to support One Voice, but there are also so many other. This is a land of nonprofits, right? And we're a land of nonprofits because there's a lot of need. And so finding some way that you can give to that need is the goal beyond just communal singing. I say just, but you know what I mean.
And that is something that One Voice does as well. I mean, when folks go there, whether it's going to be protest lines or not, you always try to have some sort of community aspect and building community and creating community at your concerts.
Yeah, it's always the goal. And it's hard because, you know, repertoire changes and audiences change, and you might not always remember who was there before, but the more integrated you can be in your community, the less, you know, you have to think about, oh, who was there before? Who did they partner with? Like, I can't remember the name of that organization. It's just like you have a bank of folks that you can reach out to.
Right. That's brilliant. I love it.
Well, I don't want to. Are there going to be any? I know it's November and it's protest lines. Do you have anything scheduled for the holidays?
No, this year, actually, we typically rehearse through Thanksgiving, December holidays, New Year. And this year we were like, let's not. Let's have a little bit of a rest. However, we do have 2 more concerts in our spring semester in 2026. So the first one will be March 14th. We're actually going to be collaborating with the Minnesota Philharmonic Orchestra.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah. And so that will be kind of continuing in the same vein, kind of taking a look at America, you know, like who gets to hold that identity and what ideas and values do we hold as Americans. And so that'll be a little bit of a jump into different ways to approach those questions. And then our final show to conclude the season is actually Pride Weekend, June 27th and 28th. That'll be at the Ordway. And that is a show called Royalty. And so right now we have Dick Von Dyke confirmed as one of our drag artists. We'll be bringing another on board. And so this will be a celebration of gender diversity and drag in the queer liberation movement. And so we'll have our drag artists come and coach soloists for their own drag, you know, routine, their own drag persona, have us kind of jump into what it means to like have gender, to be a gender, and to kind of understand better what the pushback has always been against gender diversity throughout queer history. And so that'll be being able to kind of show off some more soloists, show off some great drag artists in town, and celebrate what it means to have pride.
Oh, that's great. You mentioned the Philharmonic, and I know John had considered joining them at one point. He's a violinist. I don't think you've actually played for some
Lord.
time.
I couldn't even do an audition now. I would need to get lessons for a couple of years, even if I do the audition. But we're going to have more with Kimberly Wagwa, who is the artistic director of One Voice Mixed Chorus, after this short break. Their concert is Protest Lines. It is Saturday, November 15th at the O'Shaughnessy Auditorium in St. Paul. Before we take that break, I want to make sure that you check out our GLAAD Media Award nominated podcast, This Queer Book Saved My Life. I interview LGBTQ guests from across the rainbow about a queer book that had a life-saving impact for them. Plus, we bring in the authors to join that conversation. You can find This Queer Book Saved My Life everywhere that you get your podcast and at thisqueerbook.com. Also, be sure to follow both This Queer Book and The Gaily Show on Blue Sky, the only place that you can find us on social media. We're at thisqueerbook.com on Blue Sky and at thegailyshow.org on Blue Sky. More after this break. Stay tuned. Welcome back to The Gaily Show. I'm John Parker. We are coming up on the top of the hour. Music is a form of resistance, and there's a strong tradition of that across almost all of the mass movements. And as we were talking to Kimberly Waigwa, artistic director of One Voice Mixed Chorus, across human history, not just queer liberation and the civil rights movement and the labor movement. And One Voice Mixed Chorus has an upcoming concert Sunday, November 15th. It's called Protest Lines. It is at the O'Shaughnessy Auditorium in St. Paul on the campus of St. Kate's. Waigwa, a question I should have asked earlier. Protest, what does it mean?
Oh, that's a great question.
And I ask that because I think we're all trying to figure out what that is, and you're exploring that through music, and then you're also saying, "Hey, folks that are coming here, we are going to teach you this version of protest, and then we hope that you take it back with you into your areas." And I think as we're all trying to figure out how do we protest, here's one way that we can do that. But as you're thinking about it, sort of in a larger sense, also because you have another concert coming up that's exploring American identity, like for you, protest. What should we be thinking about? What are the major questions we should be thinking about as we're trying to engage with it as, Americans, as human folks, as queer folks, as BIPOC folks?
Sure. I think protest largely means living into your values, because I think it's really, really easy to be ideological, because life is hard, right? Like it's hard to be like, I will never buy from Amazon again. And it's like, well, no one in town sells that thing that I might need for this. And it's like, where can I find more resources to be more responsible to my community? That's just one example. But I think it's really trying to think of the thing that is good for your community, that is good for the long term of your community, rather than what is necessarily easy in this moment. And I feel like that's very difficult, and no one will always follow the straight road, right? There are some things, maybe it might be particular to your job or your livelihood, or just being able to stay housed. You have to do what you can, but as much as you can, trying to live into those values and stand in them to make hard choices that are less convenient. I think it's really easy to live in a convenient society. It's the way that it is structured. It is the way that money is generated most easily. And so finding what you can do. And then I guess the second part would be what you hope community might mean for you. It's really hard, I think, to show up for more than, moving. Like getting together for lunch or brunch or whatever, like it's hard when someone is grumpy or going through a hard time, but like being there, or going grocery shopping with someone, co-working with people, finding how you cultivate your community and how that furthers that community in the long run.
I'm curious then, as you're planning this concert with the Minnesota Philharmonic in the spring about questions of America, what are questions that you're thinking about right now as you're planning that concert?
I think the biggest thing that comes up for me is like, what does it mean to be an American? Because there's like, we are all Americans, right? But then it's like, technically I'm African American, or, Latinx American. But what does that actually mean? Looking back on historical foundations, like what has built America, and what does that say about it now versus what America says about itself? I feel like it's a rabbit hole of questions you can always ask about what kind of defines what America is. Like my parents are both immigrants. My mother was born in Panama and my father was born in Kenya. And so growing up, I always had the juxtaposition of an immigrant experience and then me as like an American kid. And so I don't know that I could even answer that question either. But I think it's really important, especially if we're thinking of what values we stand for. I mean, that is inherently being an American. Because it's where we live, it's where we're trying to survive. All of those things come together of what does it mean to just be, be and happen to be here on this ground.
No, yeah, I mean that resonates for me. I mean, like my mom's side of the family were Armenian, and like my grandfather and grandmother were born on one continent, and then because of a genocide and a world war, they ended up in France. And so they were like, well, are we, that whole generation trying to figure out, are we French? And then my mom and her sister come to the States, and then they're like, well, are we American now?
Yeah.
And what does that mean? And so then you get the kids who are like dual citizens. We're like, are we French? Are we American?
Yeah.
Are we Armenian? Like, what the heck are we?
Yeah.
You know, and now we have so many people in this country that are like, you're not even American if you're XYZ, you know, ABC. Like, they've got all the, you know, conditions of what that means. So I think that that concert's going to be coming at such a perfect time. And what a great companion, I don't know if that's the right word, concert to protest lines that you're having right now. I think that's, you all have such amazing, I love the intentionality and the thoughtfulness that One Voice brings, not just to the work that you're doing, but how you're going to show up for folks in the community. And I think it's really special what you all are doing.
Thank you. Yeah, I feel like that is particularly important to me as someone who is not only queer, but of two immigrant backgrounds. Being reflected in choral music has never really been my experience, certainly not in undergrad. Yeah, and in grad school, it's like a little bit, you know, branching out, but the music, the choral music landscape in particular, tends to focus more on sound than it does on words. But with choral music, you're telling other people's stories, right? You know, from all types of traditions, and it's important to think about those words.
The concert is Protest Lines. It is November 15th at the O'Shaughnessy Theater in St. Paul on the campus of St. Kate's. You can get your tickets at onevoicemn.org, onevoicemn.org. On social media, they are onevoicemn. On YouTube, you can search for youtube.com/@onevoicemixedchorus. Wagwa, it's so great to be in conversation with you again.
Yes, thank you so much.
And I can't wait to have you back on to talk about this conference. I keep saying concert next spring about America.
Yeah, thank you. I look forward to it.